Hey guys, thanks for coming back for part 2 of the GPI case install. Now the install that we're going to do first is just the standard RetroPie install. And to do that, we're going to go over to my desktop here. Now, I have some notes that came with the package that the RetroPie came in, including the shutdown scripts and so forth. But then I have some notes here for how we're going to do this. So keep me on track. I'm a little more prepared today than I usually am in these videos. And I've downloaded the files here because I was testing. And I've actually run one of the OSs on my Game Boy for like a week. Well, not a Game Boy, but you know. So here is the case patch file. Now, this file is available from, here's the shutdown scripts where you can get those normally. And then you can download that patch for the case from this location. But I have these images. I tested it with 4.4 and 4.5, and I also tried RecalBox, however you say that. And I'm going to try that again in the next video. But for this video, it's just straight up RetroPie. Initially, there were some things I noticed that were kind of cool about RecalBox. It was a little more cleaned up user experience. RetroPie, the only thing I don't like is it's requires a little more knowledge than a normal video game system. And then there's two different writers that you can use. You can use the Balena Etcher or the Disk Imager. And it's just a nice little GUI on how to take the image file and apply it to our SD card. So what we're first going to do is we are going to take our SD card and put that into an SD card reader. Now, this obviously does not come with the GPI case. You need to have your own card reader. Anyway, so this is the H drive. It is empty. Now, I do not trust this because it did come from China. So I guess even formatting is not really going to make a difference, but we'll go ahead and format it anyway. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go to the writers. And I've already installed the etcher, so let's put that in. So it launches. Oops, that's another thing too, is you need to launch it as admin. So let's go ahead and close this. Balena Etcher. Right click, run as admin. And to authenticate. And then we select the image that we're going to use. So on my desktop, I put in star.star. I was like, where's my... Well, that's another thing that's weird too about the system is the folder shortcuts you're used to seeing aren't in the right place. So under my D drive, I got to go to my users, my account, my desktop there to actually get to my files. So we're going to the images and we're going to do the uncompressed version, which is 2.5 gigs of the RetroPie 0. So I'm going to select that. I'm going to select the target of my H drive, not the 10 terabyte drive, the H drive. And we're going to hit flash. Almost. All right, so once that's been flashed, we go ahead and close this. And now we go and look at our drives. And we have it automatically unmounts. So what we want to do now is we want to remove it from our reader, wait a second, and plug it back in. Now we will get prompts that say this drive's not been, do you want to format it? No. Just leave that alone. Now, you will see the machine show up as a drive, and you will see a drive labeled boot. We want to go into this drive. Now, what we want to do first is in this drive, in the boot drive, we want to make a new file. And we're just going to call it SSH, and we're going to remove the .txt. And what's going to happen is when this OS boots up, it's going to detect the presence of that SSH file, and it's going to turn on the SSH service. That will allow us to use PuTTY to get into the command line of this device. Now, what we also want to do is we want to take this section here, and we want to make a new file. And we're going to name this file WPA _ supplicant.conf or config. And yes, we're changing the extension, and then we're going to paste that information here into here. Now, this is the broadcast from my wireless network. This is the key from a network, but this is my guest network. This has no access to anything, which is the only reason why I'm leaving it visible here. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and we're going to close this file. We're going to save the changes. So if you're in the US, you'll leave this US. Otherwise, you'll use your other country code that Linux knows it to be. And then we're leaving these settings here. So then we hit save. And then we have that. So we've got those files. Now, what we want to do is we want to, once we get the machine booted up and we remote into it, we're going to run this shutdown command. But before we do that, we need to patch the case. So the way we do the patch of the case is we will open up GPI case, and this is the folder that extracted. Now what's funny about it is the patch right here extracts this, but there's multiple levels. So you want to go down until you get to the last folder for the GPI case patch. And what we want to do, let me look at the script to make sure. Yeah, I believe that's correct. So in here, we want to look at this patch, and I want to verify that yeah, so what I was checking right there is to make sure that so we go down to this folder, and we're going to copy these into here. We are then going to run the command prompt as administrator. And we are going to go to the drive. This is that boot drive. And just to make sure that the files are copying correctly, I'm going to go into here. And one of the files that we did see that was going to copy was here. So we can see all these are the same, 108 for the DPI files. Which again is, I believe, what DPI 24. So DPI 24 has a data of 108 right here. So now we're going to do install patch, and we're going to run that. And then we're going to look at these dates again, and you can see that that did change the date. So that file is now patched. Yay. So with that file now patched, the case is patched. We should be able to boot into the case and then go get that script file that we need. So we're going to take our card out, and we're going to put that into our device. And again, to do that, we take the I gotta find where I put the fake little card thing. Here it is. Alright, so what we need to do now is we take the memory card out of the adapter, like so. We're going to go ahead and slide it into our fake game cartridge in the side slot. And we're going to close the little door. Now, one other thing to note is on the back of this machine, in the battery door, there's a little switch right here. And that switch controls whether or not the scripts are going to run to try to safely shut this down. Now, by default, it is turned off. We want to flip it to the on position. And then we're going to go ahead and put in the cartridge. Alright, so now we have the card back in the device. We have, we've configured the patch. We've configured SSH. We've configured the network settings. We're going to go ahead and power on the device and go through the initial configuration. Now, when it's asking us for keys and everything like that, we want to make sure to have the device lifted off the back because there are buttons on the back here that we do not want to accidentally get pressed. So we're going to go ahead and make sure the switch is all the way on and the little red light comes on. And we're going to watch this thing go through its boot process. So there is another OS that I am testing that I played with a little bit before that actually was a little smoother. It had less prompts, less command line type text going on it, so forth. And it looked a little nicer. So I'm going to check that one in the next video after I set up a Nintendo style case for Raspberry Pi 3. So you can see RetroPie is loading here. So it's still continuing to load. Now what I'm also watching this for is to see if I can catch which IP this machine's getting. You see in a moment it's going to detect that file. .103 is the last part of our IP here. So it's automatically logging in. It's loading up. It's going to ask us to configure the buttons. So emulation station's now loading, and it's saying, please hold down the A button to configure the control. So you hold that down, and now it's asking us to press the up button on the D-pad, down, left, right, start, select, A, B, X, and Y. Now we don't, the shoulders are on the back again. It's on the back of the case here by the battery door button. So we're going to do left, right, and now we don't have triggers, thumbsticks, or anything like that, so we're going to hold down the A button to go through each prompt. Right there. We're going to just keep holding that, hold it down, let go on each button. Hold down, let go, hold down, until we get through them all. Now it's going to say, wait a minute, what do you mean no hotkey? So now we're going to hit A again. And it's going to say, hey, you haven't chosen a hotkey. Do you want to make that be the select button? Just press the A button. Now it looks like it's jammed or locked up or something. It's not. Just leave it be. It's thinking. It's processing. And then it loads up this. So you can see the only thing it knows in here right now is Amiga because it's got one homebrew game. Or Amberry. I'm which I don't know what that is. So I hit the B button to go back, A selects. So now we have, now in the RetroPie menu options, you can see this, there's Bluetooth setup things in here, Wi-Fi setup things. You can choose to show more of the splash screens. You can also choose to show your IP in here. So we're going to hit this button. We're going to look at what our IP is. And then I'm going to show you how to throw ROMs onto this machine. So it showed me there that my IP is, looking down, I didn't get to see. But during boot up, I did notice it was 103. So what we're going to check next is we're going to go putty into the device, and we're going to set down those items for the shutdown script. So if you don't have putty right now, you can go and download it. Just search for putty and you'll find it. But you run this application, you put in the IP that you're trying to connect to. In this case, it's 60.103. And I believe, and you answer yes to the key, and you log in as Pi, and the password should be Raspberry. And it is. So now we're sitting here, we're in the system. That looks so inappropriate, but that is a joystick. We copy this line, and if you need to see it, just pause, and it's right there. And we go ahead and run this. And failed to connect. Why did it fail to connect? Let me see if what may be happening there. Yeah. So on my side, there is the firewalls blocking that. Let me see if I can ping the internet. Interesting. Oh, there's no gateway defined here. So what we're going to do real quick is I'm going to look up how to set gateway Raspberry Linux. So let's look here. Route. Yeah, see there's no gateway route. Okay, so we're going to just do route add default gateway 192.168.60.1 in my case. And the infonet, it's WLAN 0. Sudo. Now we're going to try ping. Yay, we can ping now. So now I'm going to rerun that command and go get our files. Would you look at that? So it's now getting our files. And these, again, are the patches so that if we flip the power switch, the light will blink and allow it to gracefully shut down instead of just hard powering off the device, which could lead to micro SD card damage. So we're letting this update now. And while that's finishing the update, let me go and make sure my ROM resource is online. So, we're back. Right, so it is still downloading. All right. It's reading the lists. We removed my arcade drive off the screen here. That's my stuff. And basically we're letting this thing install now. So now that we've run this, we can close this. So it's going ahead and it's rebooting the device now. You see, that's its ugly screen when it's going to reboot. It's quite ugly. Again, we're watching this thing boot up. It's not very entertaining. And on our main screen, we lost our connection to Putty, so we went ahead and I just closed that window. So you can see this is now rebooting. And we're sitting at the screen. Now we only have, again, RetroPie and Amiga showing up as options in here because there is nothing else at the moment. So, the way we, on the back side, you should be able to use a USB cable to transfer files to this device using the USB port on the back here. Or you, on your computer, can just browse your Internet Explorer and go, Windows Explorer, and go straight to the path or IP of the device. So in the IP of the device, you can see we even have splash screens. We can add our own splash screens in there, which I think that might be cool to add some Maverick's Arcade splash screens. That'd be really cool. But then we'll go into ROMs, and you can see they have the folders for all the various types of ROMs, but they're not actually in here at this point. So we're just going to start off. We're just going to go into the GB. And again, I'm going to go to my other drive off screen here, and I'm going to look through my ROMs, and I'm going to grab the ones for the Game Boy. Alright, so for example, the Game Boy, we're going to just go grab Tetris, and we're going to copy Tetris over here. Now, once we have the game copied onto the system, alright, so we're restarting the device. And then once it's restarted, you can see we can go into Game Boy. And we can select Game Boy. And now Tetris is in here. So you hit the A button to configure the ROM. And you can see they even do a green look to make it look like the original black and green kind of look of the screen from the backlight. Let me turn up our volume. So, this is the Game Boy. So now to reset a game in this, you hold down the select and you hit start. And it will it'll quit the game. You can also hold down select and hit B to reset the it's like hitting reset. And then also if you hold down the select and hit the right shoulder button, it saves the ROM. And you can hold the select button and hit the left shoulder button, and you can hear it resets the ROM where it was. You hear it keep tapping because it's reloading it. So now that is useful for things like Mario Brothers if you want to keep going and not die. So you can see now if I reload it to where it was, it's back to where it was. So anyway, play with that, but I hold down select, I hit start, and it goes back out into the normal menu. I can hit B to go back a menu, and then A to go down a menu. So that's how this device works. Just load up more and more ROMs and enjoy. If you guys have any questions, let me know. Shoot me an email. Tell me about your favorite Game Boy games. Let me know what was the best games in case I haven't seen it. Argue within chat about which one's better. Part of my issue was I only had a couple of Game Boy games when I was little. I had Tetris, like everybody else. And then I had Kirby. And there was only like one or two other games that I really had. So let me know your favorites. The next video is going to be about the other ROM or the other systems that I've tried. Now, I have been using this OS for a week, and I had some problems with it, and that is that it has occasionally crashed, but it's an emulator, so I'm not too worried about that. What I don't like about it is when you launch a game, though, you have to go through the menu and choose to launch it. And then sometimes you have to change which emulator is the better emulator to use. Now, for someone like me, that's fine. But if I wanted to give this as a gift, that creates a little more of a pain because the other person, has to know which emulator to try. So that would be my downside. Now, again, this is just a really cool gadget. I know I took it to work with me and people were like, oh my God, what is that? That's a Game Boy? And then they were like amazed that it wasn't a Game Boy. And then some of them, like, just on the other side of the room would hear the game's sound and like, huh? And try to figure out what it was. So it was really neat having that thing in work. And in fact, I had a couple people ask me, oh my God, where'd you get that? And I was like, well, you built it yourself. And then they were even more, blown. And, so again, check it out. I'm going to next do a video on a cleaner version of the emulator software that I had found that I want to test out. But again, that's my feedback on this, is just that it's good, it's powerful, but it is annoying because it does occasionally crash. And the fact that it's a little more clunky in its user interface, it's not like a device really straight ready to go without you seeing any of the stuff going on in the back end. It does also seem to take a while to boot up. So, but again, still definitely worth it. Just the people coming up and going, oh my God, I can't believe that's a Game Boy. Wait a minute. No, it's not. Wait a minute. Yes, it is. Wait, what are you doing with Sonic on there? It's almost sacrilegious, but again, anyway, so look for that next video. Also, I'm going to be doing an extra video because it is for Christmas, coming up on Christmas, and I'm going to be building a classic style Nintendo next week with the kids. So I'm not sure which video is going to be first, but keep an eye out for both of them. They will be out before Christmas. Thanks again, and we will see you next time. Make sure to check out the links above for some of my other videos, and definitely smash that subscribe button. Also, make sure to turn on notifications so you don't miss out on any episodes. I'm continually trying to grow this channel, so make sure to like, comment, and share on all your favorite social media platforms. To find more content for this channel, check out the following locations. YouTube is the primary location where I publish the final versions of my how-to videos. I use Facebook for communication, notices about upcoming videos, behind-the-scenes pictures and videos, and the occasional live stream. For live streams, I primarily use Twitch, as it generally provides the least latency for the closest to real-time response rate currently available. I will occasionally multicast to Facebook and Twitch at the same time, but Twitch generally seems to have the least delay, so I prefer it for streaming events. And as always, thank you guys for watching. I appreciate your support, and we'll see you next time.